Many Cambodians saw Dev's family.
Advanced water floss. This is
Every aspect of
I must say.
In Haiti, Guatemala, and Nepal for a while, but now we're just all over the scale.
Hey, come on, isn't it genius? I think it's
Delta faucets.
America reframed on
Decriminalizing is pun.
Robert Stack as Elliot Ness.
our Sunday sit down with the
always a
Iron law of politics. Once the government provides a benefit, it's almost impossible.
Line, no. Are quite fun.
In 3 years.
Both with radically different visions for the country's voting this morning. All on underdog Marine Le Pen. She's a far-right populist who wants to quit the European Union and NATO, limit immigration, and crack down on the practice of Islam. But polls favor Emmanuel Macron. The former banker is a pro-business liberal who wants to keep France in the EU. He's never held elected office. Macron announced late Friday night that his campaign was hacked. 9 gigabytes of data, thousands of emails, now circulating on the web. Suspicion has turned to Russia, and Macron's campaign has likened the hack to last year's DNC email leak. But the comparison to the recent U.S. election doesn't end there. French campaigns have seen bitter debates, violent campaign rallies, and allegations of fake news. And just last week, Barack Obama endorsed Macron.
He appeals to people's hopes and not their fears.
2 weeks after Donald Trump expressed his support for Le Pen. The Le Pen camp hopes for a Trump-style upset.
We know how the polls were about Donald Trump the last time, so we're still very optimistic.
And a victory that would not only upend France, but send shockwaves across Europe and around the world. The threat of terrorism looms large over this vote, and just a few hours ago, the site of the victory party for Emmanuel Macron was evacuated because of a security threat. Turns out, so far, it was just a threat. Willie?
All right, Matt Bradley watching that election closely for us this morning in Paris. Matt, thanks so much. Back here at home, President Trump has spent the weekend celebrating the passage of a health care bill through the House of Representatives and now looking toward the Senate. But tomorrow, the focus will be on how he got to the White House, with testimony before Congress about the connection during the campaign between his ousted National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and Russia. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is with the president in Branchburg, New Jersey, with more on tomorrow's testimony up on the Hill. Kelly, good morning.
Good morning, Willie. Tomorrow, the public will hear for the first time from a former government official who went to the White House with a warning about Russia and Michael Flynn, and then lost her own position just days later when she refused to enforce the president's travel ban. Now, the White House has been trying to distance itself from the Russia questions, but that will be hard to do tomorrow.
Fired by President Trump. Former top Justice Department official Sally Yates has a story to tell Monday about ousted National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The White House said in March it was okay for Yates to go public.
If they choose to move forward, great. We have no problem with her testifying.
Yates, who was briefly acting Attorney General,
I believe that we can work together.
warned the Trump White House in January that Flynn had misled officials about his contacts with the Russian ambassador. Former Obama Director of National Intelligence James Clapper is also expected to testify tomorrow as part of a Senate Russia investigation. Turning to the fallout over health care. Saturday outside Buffalo, New York. Republican Congressman Tom Reed faced angry constituents in a series of town hall meetings.
The joke of this rich country to let citizens die.
Reed defended his vote for the GOP health care plan.
I totally understand it and empathize with the fear, the anxiety, because we are talking about health care. It's a very personal situation.
Closer to home, the president's weekend home in Bedminster, New Jersey. An unusual drive-by protest Saturday. A line of a few dozen cars passed outside President Trump's golf resort, where local police prevented them from stopping. Demonstrators then met nearby.
I wanted the people of this community to know that we don't all agree with them.
Others defended the longtime local resident, who is now president.
He's a hardworking guy. He's a very hardworking guy, and he has the right to have a day off.
And from his New Jersey home today, the president tweeted about the Russia issue, but saying Democrats' connections to Russia should be investigated. Other than that, the White House is saying they want these investigations to go forward, and they're not commenting. Willie?
All right, Kelly O'Donnell, thanks so much. Kelly, NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent. Andrea Mitchell is in this morning for Chuck Todd on Meet the Press. Andrea, great to see you on a Sunday morning, my friend.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
So let's begin with some domestic politics and that health care bill. Obviously, Thursday there was that Rose Garden celebration led by President Trump, along with House Republicans who voted for this bill and passed it by the slimmest of margins. They believe they did their job, delivered on a campaign promise. The Senate, though, Andrea, has said almost immediately, including among many Republicans, we're going to wipe the slate clean and start and write our own bill. So for Americans who may be watching this morning and thinking, oh my gosh, what's about to happen to my health care, what are the odds that the final law, if there is one, looks like the bill that went through the House this week?
I think the odds are that certainly what comes out of the Senate is not going to be anything like what the House passed. But it is going to create a baseline for what then goes back to the House if something does come out of the Senate. Something then goes back into a conference committee, and they will have to negotiate. So what the House did is important because they've already crossed a number of bridges by really making drastic changes in Medicaid, big cuts, at least $880 billion in the first version, and then also people with pre-existing conditions. This is really going to hurt if it comes out anything like the House bill. Hurt older people, people with pre-existing conditions, and according to the Health and the Human Services Department's own estimates, 84% of people aged 55 and older have pre-existing conditions that would have enabled them to be covered, that insurance would have had to cover, could not ban under the previous Obamacare, and now will be up to the insurance companies. The states can opt out, so there's a lot of options here for people who, the insurance industry, for the states who want to opt out, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
And for just the reasons you laid out, Democrats are outraged by this bill, but politically they're pretty giddy about it because they believe it gives them an opening in 2018, perhaps in the House of Representatives. It's a tall task. They have to flip 24 seats, but they can take back the House and stand up to the president, in their view, in a different way. Do they have now an issue that can sort of guide them through the next couple of years?
Well, they think they have an issue. We already see ads coming out. They have an ad that will come out later today against Martha McSally, who is a Republican, retired Air Force pilot, a popular Republican in Arizona. Look, they think they have an issue, but they probably should not count on it yet. Charlie Cook has moved 20 seats into either toss-up or just leaning Republican, not solid Republican, but very few seats into the Democratic camp so far, among those districts where Hillary Clinton either won or almost won, and the Congress members actually voted for this bill. I think they shouldn't count